Today I'm going to show you how I did these nails. They're inspired by polka dot tights. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm starting out by putting on base coat. I've already prepped the nail with nail surface cleanser and a nail dehydrator. I want to say right off the bat, this look was inspired by the Gigi Jiggles. She's a wonderful nail tech who is actually local. I'm in Chicago. She's in Chicago. That's cool. And this is from a post of hers from a while ago. Mine end up being a little bit different, but yeah, you'll see. I need to apologize for that cuticle. What is going on? I had buffed the luminary gel that I have on my nails a little bit before filming this, and yeah, it just looks really crusty and dusty, but my nail's okay. My cuticle's okay, don't worry. I know you were really worried. So I'm taking a top gel and I'm mixing it with black jelly polish from Fiote from the Waterful collection. I wanted these to be pretty sheer. I think I ended up making them a bit more sheer than the inspiration photo, and part of me likes that and part of me doesn't. So something to consider if you end up doing these on yourself is which sort of look you prefer. So I'm applying the first coat of the sheer black polish. And with jellies, especially I think when you're mixing them yourself a little bit, it can be difficult to get a really clean application without streaks. So just want to say right off the bat that I am taking my time. This is sped through in editing, but I was definitely taking my sweet time trying to get a very uniform application. And I also did take this out, but I also applied a second layer of the polish. So 2 things to keep in mind if you end up doing this at home. You'll really want to take your time getting a nice clean application of the jelly, and you might want a second layer, you might want a third, depending on how much you're shearing out your product. Now I'm taking some nail surface cleanser in this absolutely beautiful handmade ceramic palette that a friend of mine made. You can see it says Momes. That's my other nickname with different friends. I'm fully curing that coat, and then, like I said, I had done another coat and fully cured that. And now I'm taking this lovely accents gel. It is a gold foil gel, and when you apply it sort of normally, you get this like really beautiful, kind of like it looks in the pot, just like a very solid, shimmery gold foil look on the nail. But what I'm doing is taking a very small amount and I'm really kind of buffing it in to the nail to get a really sparse, like you'll see even that was too much, so I took it off and put it on the thumbnail. But yes, I'm looking for a really, really sparse kind of sparkle. This is kind of just the icing on the cake for me. It's not meant to be the star of the show. And it kind of reminded me of these tights here. So it's kind of like, just making it a little bit more festive in New Year's. I think also a reflective glitter would be really pretty if you had a gold one. So I am going in and doing a full cure on that. And then I'm taking a thin top coat and I am sort of sealing up the glitter. And also I'm using it so that glitter doesn't come off while I'm doing other things, but also to create an even base to paint on. So doing that and then fully curing. And now I'm taking a dotting tool. I'm showing you both sides just to show you that I opted for the smaller side. The original inspiration, I think the dots were bigger, and I think that looks gorgeous too. So it's kind of just a matter of preference. I think I had referenced an image of a pair of tights and went for the more spaced out look. Spaced out, that's something I relate to. Me. But anyway, yeah, so I'm taking these and I'm starting with a straight line down the middle, and I did that on every nail. I think it helped to set me up for good symmetry, so I'd recommend starting with a straight line of dots down the middle. And I'm taking that surface cleanser and just removing dots if they end up, not looking right or the placement is odd. These are the tights, of course, that I'm taking inspiration from. And yeah, you can see that the way these line up, the dots are kind of staggered. So I don't know a better way to describe that, but I think you can just see what I'm talking about. The dots, each line doesn't line up perfectly with the one next to it. It's staggered from the one next to it. So creating that pattern, and one thing I wanted to note, this might just be me. You can tell me if you're the same if you've tried something like this, or, just with drawing or painting or anything. I find that I try and stick more dots in than I should. Like, I don't leave enough space for myself. So I was aware of that, not trying to squeeze a bunch of another row of dots in, even if there is a little bit of extra space, if they wouldn't have naturally really gone there. I don't know if that makes sense. But basically what I'm saying is just don't crowd yourself too much. I think creating a little bit of space with these looks really nice, and trying to keep them even. And you'll see I just removed a dot because I didn't like the way it was looking. It was a little bit too big. You can totally do that. And there you have it. I think that alone looks great, but you'll see I do end up going around the edges with a liner brush as well. So I'm showing you how I did this on the rest of the nails, and you will see I've already lined the edges of the thumbnail with black gel, but oh my goodness, honestly, when I tell you this was so difficult to film, because lining around the edges of the nails means that you're contorting your hand in a bunch of different ways. It was really difficult to stay in frame. So I just cut out me doing that on the thumbnail. It was a mess. And actually, I'll tell you right now that I used a longer liner brush on the thumbnail, and some might prefer that, but I actually recommend a smaller brush, which you'll see me use when I get there. But for now, I'm just putting dots on the rest of the fingers. And another thing I wanted to note, this is kind of hard to explain, but when you're drawing on a curved surface, when you create a line on a curved surface, you want the line to kind of slope down. So in this case, the line of dots, you want it to sort of slope down as it's getting toward the edge of your nail, so that when you look at it head on from the top, it looks like a straight line, but when you look at it from the side, you'll see that it's actually sloping a bit. I hope you can see from the footage what I'm talking about, but if you end up doing this, it's something to keep in mind, that you want to be checking from the top to make sure that the line of dots that you're creating is actually appearing to be straight from the top. I think that's the priority, the way they look head on. Maybe sometime in the future I can draw a picture of this. But yeah, anyway. So I'm just using this dotting tool, and I did use painting gel, but I will say, can't remember if I already said this, but I think the artist who originally did this probably used a regular gel. So you can do that as well, depending on what kind of dot you'd like. Okay, so now I'm taking the micro detailer brush from Young Nails, and I'm just making a very thin line around the edges of the nails. One major thing to note here, I think, is that you should feel free to flash cure at regular intervals as soon as you like something. Definitely don't be afraid to flash cure it into place, because you might need to do a lot of fixing if you're like me and a total amateur and not that experienced with lining the edges of your nails. So I do think definitely don't be afraid if you have an LED flashlight. that is ideal to just have around, and don't be afraid to just cure regularly as soon as you get something you like. And another thing to note is that as you're applying this gel around the sidewalls, so that's where the skin of your finger touches the side of your nail, that's definitely a place where you want to flash cure as soon as you get a line you like, because depending on your anatomy and how deep your sidewalls are, you can really be bumping that gel into your skin, which makes it messy. And also, as I've said before, it's really not great to be getting a lot of gel on your skin regularly. So on that note as well, another thing to be aware of is that you'd rather have less product on your brush than too much, because you don't want to be really glopping this on. And look, I'm not saying I'm great at this. I think you can see it's not the most even line. So, do as I say, not as I do, I guess. But, I'm getting better. If you don't know, I'm not a nail tech. I'm just someone who has fallen into the rabbit hole of nail art. And yeah, so I'm learning a lot of this stuff as I go too. But yes, painting gel is very nice for this part around the sides, I will say. Even if you're not using it on the dots, I think it's helpful to have a gel that's not very runny as you're trying to paint this line around the side. And also, it's not necessary, right? You could skip this line, this outline. I think it does really tie it together, though, personally. So I'm finishing up that last nail, and after this, I'll do a full cure, and I will top coat, although I did not record it. So after you see me fully cure this last nail, you're going to see me applying cuticle oil, and then we'll go out to my back porch and we'll go see how these things look in natural light. Spoiler alert, I think they look great, if I do say so myself. So here we go, cuticle oil time. It's such a relief when you're at this stage, especially if you've been doing kind of a finicky nail design. So rubbing that in, getting my hands nice and hydrated, and yeah, I think this looks really beautiful. Someone gives so much credit to that original nail artist. What a beautiful classic design. So here they are in natural light. You can see that light bit of shimmer. So lovely. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy New Year's. And I hope to see you next year, right? Isn't that what we say?